Okay, to look at the stained glass window, all you're doing is making equations on um, graph paper. You want to make an XY axis. So I'm just going to go straight down the middle of the paper. Don't do this in pen. I'm doing it so you can see it on the camera. But just go straight down the middle of the paper. Make sure it's on graph paper. And make your XY axis. And then, of course, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, all the way across. So this is your, you don't have to label them, but this is your X and Y axis. And then you're going to make equations. You want them to make cool designs like this. You don't have to be able to get the heart. She just drew the heart in there. She drew these little diamonds in there. But the other little diamonds actually came from the equation. Like this one drew very simple parallel lines and then ended up figuring out how to make this X with a diamond in the center. And then this one, she cut it out to make a square, but she had her equations in there and they had no rhyme or reason to them at all, but they worked out so she could get these little stars. So if you can figure out how to make stars, that's really cool as well. So all you're going to do is you are going to make equations. So I'm going to start with, I'm going to go with y equals 2x plus 1. So I'm going to start at my y-intercept. And don't draw your circles too big. Your dots too big. You don't want to be able to noticeably see them on the picture. Like this, you can barely see her dots here. That's not the first thing your eye jumps to. And then my slope was 2, so I'm going to go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, and just keep doing that all the way through my picture, all the way to the edge. And the same thing on the bottom, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, all the way to the bottom of the paper. You go through the entire graph. And then grab your ruler to make sure we get a straight line. So my dots are a little noticeable, but they're not too crazy noticeable. Now, if I want this to reflect, to make an X, you change your slope. Leave your y-intercept the same, but I'm going to flip my slope to negative, and that'll be my second equation. So I'll still start at 1, but I'm going to go down to right 1, over and over and over, until I get to the edge of the paper. And then the opposite, up to left 1, over and over until I get to the edge of the paper. And then I grab my ruler again and connect those dots. Ooh, the ruler moved just a little bit. There we go. Now, if I want to reflect it across the y-axis, I'm still going to have that 2x plus 1, but I'm going to change my equation. If you want to reflect across the y-axis, you change your slope and your y-intercept. So I'm going to do the opposite of my slope and the opposite of my y-intercept. So then I'll start at negative 1, and I'll go down to over 1. And just constantly do that. Now, once you get a couple points, you don't have to keep going. You can use your ruler to get the rest of the graph. So like if I don't do the top, if I line my ruler up with those points, then I can get the top half of that graph without having to draw the top half. So that reflected from this line. So it made a parallel to the second line I drew, but from the first line, that reflected across the, not the y-axis, the x-axis. So you can use whatever you'd like to make some kind of design. So if I wanted to do a totally different equation, I don't want it to match either of those, I can go to Let's start at 4. No, let's start at like 14. That's my slope. Sorry. I'm going to make my slope like 4. But let's start at 10. So I'm going to start at 10. My slope's going to be 4. So I'm going to go up to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's where I'm going to start. And then my slope was, let's do 4 over 3. Make it a little bit different slope. Make it wider. So I'm going to go up 4 over 3. Up 4 over 3. And again, once you've got those dots, if you just use your ruler, you don't have to do the other side. The ruler can do that for you. Now, this is not going to be a great design at all. I'm just trying to show you how to get these lines. If you want a wider line that goes across the page, you want your smaller number to be on top. So if I made this like 2 over 5, and I'm going to start at, let's just go negative 10. This will make it wider to go across the page. So I'm going to start down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And because my smaller number is on top, it's going to be flatter. That's compressing your line. That's the transformations we've done. So I'm going to go up 2 over 5. Up 2 over 5. And then I can use that ruler to get the rest of my graph. So that'll flatten it out some, so you don't have such steep lines. So use whatever you'd like to make any kind of picture you would like. It does not matter, just make some kind of cool design. And if you can get little shapes like these stars, that's awesome. And if you just want to get the shape like the X, that works as well. If you want to make these diamonds, those are very easy to make. Like I've almost got a diamond right here. If I just made that extra line going up, then I have a little diamond in the middle. But like a heart like this, if you can figure out how to make that with the equations, go for it. But otherwise, you can draw that in. And then you just plot your points on your paper. Just plot them in a table, just like we do on picture plot. So look at picture plot to figure that one out.